Welcome to the Post Shift Podcast, your raw look at the hospitality industry, brought to you by SHC.
Happening, Post Shifters. It's been a couple of weeks since I did an episode at all. I've got a new episode coming this Friday. It's the 4th season. I've done 300 episodes. I talked about this reflecting on 300. It's been interesting to try and get the rhythm back. This last couple of years has been hard on everybody, and it's really sort of hit me quite hard in the last couple of weeks. Not being able to travel and being stuck in Victoria is not the easiest thing for me to deal with. But that being said, let's kick this off. Been trying to think about what to do for my shots, because I feel like I've given out so much knowledge in the last couple of years that I might be running out. But I want to talk about the transition from a staff member to a manager, because our industry is undergoing a massive staff shortage. And I think a lot of it, I've talked about it, like money, benefits, security, all this sort of stuff can be sort of led into staff becoming managers or staff getting more responsibilities, and how to deal with it. Now, a lot of staff people in the hospitality industry don't ever want to become a manager. They literally just are happy, come in, do their shifts, their serving shifts, their bartending shifts, their chef shifts, their line cook chefs, whatever they want to do, and go home, clock out, cash out, done. Which I respect. You got to know what you want. Self-awareness is a big thing. I talk about this all the time. Self-awareness about what you want from your career and what you want from life in general and happiness is extremely difficult. So I'm going to go two different angles for this one. I'm going to go from a staff person's angle to being a manager, and an owner getting a manager. So staff who want to become a manager or get offered a job as a manager, a lot of the times it's viewed as you don't make as much money, sometimes you make tips, sometimes you don't, more hours, more responsibility, more stress, that sort of thing. But it does give you security. 9 times out of 10, you get the benefits. 9 times out of 10, you get the secure paycheck that you know every single week you can budget a little bit better than if you have a quiet February and all of a sudden you're not making any tips. And then, of course, minimum wage and stuff like that. As a staff person, you really have to understand where you want to see your career go. If this is your life, I know a lot of life bartenders, life servers that have been doing it for 40 years and still work at the same restaurant for 40 years as just a server. Never move into management, never move into responsible roles, anything like that. They're just very, very happy having their niche. Again, self-awareness is key to this, because a lot of people think that that's the next progressive step. And what happens is they fucking hate it. they fucking hate their lives, and they burn out real quick and screw themselves over. So let's talk about the financial point of this first. Chances are you're going to make as much, if not a little bit more, than what you do as a server. Maybe just a smidge more. You're going to do more hours. You're going to be more consistent in hours. You may have to do 10-hour shifts, which is ridiculous. We're going to get into that when the owner thing comes in. You're going to have a ton more responsibility, whether it be scheduling, inventory, training, education, all these different things. Why would you want to get into management? And for me, getting into management, I've been in management on and off since I was 22 years old, has always been that consistent structure, foundation that you can do other things. You know what your schedule is going to be. You know what your money's going to be. It looks better for the banks, all these sort of things. So if you're at the point where someone is like wanting you to become a manager or a supervisor of your space, really sit down and be transparent and honest with the person, with the owner, with the general manager, with whoever, and tell them exactly what you want. I've talked about transparency and honesty a lot. I do it with my team, my staff, a ton. But be honest and transparent, because you need to have that transparency from the get-go, or you could really screw yourself over. So being honest and transparent, getting exactly what you want, or at least having a goal of exactly what you want, whether it be experience to move up a position, whether it be experience to take over another restaurant, all these sort of things. These are the things that you need to tick, 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 and really do it for you. Really do it for you. Chances are you'll be on salary, again, like that consistent financial foundation, but it does come with a whole bunch of pros and cons to that. So the decision has to be yours, and you need to have that self-awareness to make that decision. Do you want that more responsibility? Don't do it just for the money. Do it for like what's going to make you happy long term. So this one's for the owners or the general managers who are looking to find managers. A manager is not a reason to just put someone on salary and then work their ass off. That is the worst fucking thing I've seen so many times. It's like, oh, they're on salary, they can work 60 hours a week. Like, they're on salary, they can work 12-hour shifts. They're on salary, they can work the days off. It is the worst set of things to do when you're an owner or general manager offering someone to be a manager. Like, this is the reason why we have such a massive labor shortage in the market right now, is because of this turn and burn, throw money at it, fucking just great people, like great, grind them down, and then they'll leave and then you'll find a replacement. And this is the thing, we're not finding replacements anymore. You have to look after your staff. You have to fucking look after your staff, please, for the love of God. But as a general manager or owner, you have to understand that that manager may be with you for years, that manager may be with you for months, that manager may be the pivotal person who's going to run your floor, but they are never going to work as hard as you do. This is more for the owners. Never going to work as hard as you do because they don't have a stake in the game. Like, why should you ask them to work as hard as you do? They don't have a stake in the game. They're not going to walk away with profits at the end of the year if there's profits in the restaurant industry right now, but they're not going to walk away with profits at the end of the year. So as an owner, as a general manager, if you're picking out one of these younger generation kids to be a manager, you need to still treat them as if they were a busser or a bartender or a server, in the way of looking after them financially, work-life balance, benefits, tangible and intangible additions to their role and their money, their lifestyle, everything. And when I say that, like, I see so often that an owner or general manager will bring on another manager and literally education, training, all that sort of stuff just stalls and stops. They'll still be doing education and training on wine and beer and food and stuff for the staff, but as soon as that manager gets in the role, it stalls. Send them to management courses. Send them to public speaking courses. Send them to the things that you can pay for quite comfortably to make them better. And I believe as a general manager or an owner, your main role is to make the people that work with you, not for you, not under you, like work with you, because your team is the only reason you exist, that work with you, is to make them better. And yes, they might leave, which is the worst excuse I ever hear for education and training and all that sort of stuff. They may leave you. And yes, you may have invested money in them, in time and effort and all this sort of stuff, but you want them to leave. You want them to outgrow your space. You want to grow your space with them so they stay. If you just stall and keep it the way it is, that's the way it sort of rolls. And so for staff who want to become managers, I do think that you need to sit down, write down a list of pros and cons about becoming a manager, working more, lifestyle, money, the whole shebang, especially money now, right now, financials. I know I said don't do it for the money, but one of the big things that came out of COVID and the pandemic was the complete liquidity of tips and how much money you make, hours and all that sort of stuff, and they all went away. And so people were like, holy shit, my life is just is very, very liquid. And when that liquid dries up, I'm kind of screwed. And so that's the way I kind of look at it, is like, really write down your pros and cons. Owners, general managers, please respect the people that you bring into a management role. You can grow the business with them. You can turn them into a fantastic addition to your staff. Please get rid of this turn and burn mentality of like just working someone hard. Just because they're on salary does not mean they have to work 75 hours a week. And I've been in those positions, and I've like owners and general managers not scheduling opening staff because, you know what, Shawn, you'll come in and do breakfast, but then I'm also closing and I work a 15-hour day. I like that, but that's my self-awareness. That's my work-life balance and my self-awareness. But owners and managers, please begin to, and I've talked about this just for staffing, please begin to respect the fact that People are fucking done with being taken advantage of. People are fucking done with being underpaid. People are fucking done with working too much and having too much responsibility if they just want to be a server. You need to understand, like, it costs you more money to replace than to retain. I'm going to repeat that again. It costs you more money to replace than retain. And so, try and retain your staff, bring them up, grow with them. As an owner and a manager, you should be growing as much as your venue's growing, as much as your staff are growing. It's an evolution, constant evolution, getting better and bigger and wonderful. Guys, on that note, I promise I am going to be back next week. I'm actually going to talk about when you make the transition between manager to owner. I thought about this in the shower this morning. I know it's a weird thing, but that's where I usually do my best thinking. And that's what we're going to talk about next week. From manager to owner. Guys, thanks as always for the support. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for listening, Pose Shifters. I hope you enjoyed that episode. I really enjoy sitting down with friends and peers and just chatting about the industry and getting down to the nuts and bolts of what's really going on out there. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, everything on all the platforms. Just hit it up and I'll do my best to answer any queries or questions you have. I'll see you next week, guys. Bye.